What's the deal, YouTube? It's your girl, Miss Honey. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back to the channel, everybody. It's your girl, Miss Honey. It's Saturday, everybody. I hope you guys are having a wonderful weekend. You guys know why we're here. We're here to talk about Iyanla Fix My Life. And this is season 6, episode 15. I know y'all have given me different seasons and all of that, but this what the programming say. The programming say it's season 6, episode 15. Basketball Lies. And this is all about, not really all about, it's a snippet, a small peek into lives of Brandi from Basketball Wives LA and her husband Jason Maxiell. New to my channel, like, comment, remember to subscribe, you won't regret it. All my day one, my regular ride or die honeybees, you guys already know what to do. Thumbs up, comment down below, share the video. So we knew from Basketball Wives that there had been some cheating and that they were separated. She's really, really good friends with Malaysia Pargo, who is a Basketball Wives favorite. Malaysia had infidelity in her relationship, and her and her husband ended up being divorced. And Brandi had decided that she was going to stick it out with her husband Jason and them try to work it out. And they had gone through a lot. We find out they've only been married 8 years. Their relationship seems so much older. I don't know if it seems older like that because they've just had like a lifetime worth of stuff go on. I mean, she's had ovarian cancer even before they got married. This was like during their engagement. They dated in high school. He's saying that he cheated on her initially when they were seniors in high school. She's saying she stayed with him because um, she saw a lot of good in him, a lot of thoughtfulness. And when she had her ovarian cancer, she remembers that she married him because when she lost her hair, he shaved his head, and he was just with her and coming to see her and supporting her. And um, them both being young, they're 34. He seems older to me. Again, I don't know if it's the living. I don't know, you know, we find out a little bit later on that he's a bit of a drinker. Sometimes when you're a bit of a heavy drinker, for some people, not all people, but some people, you start to look a little bit older. I don't know if it's that. Um, like I said, this relationship seems like it has so many miles on it for them to have only been married 8 years and both only just be 34. Like, golly, it's some hard living going on out there. It's some hard living. And it is definitely a sign to me that having a lot of stress and having a lot of strife and discourse in your life can certainly age you, can certainly put a lot of miles on a relationship. So, like I said, he's been cheating since senior year of high school. They've been through a lot together. They show like older pictures of them together, and I can tell a lot by pictures. In those pictures, he seems kind of playboyish in the pictures, not necessarily playboyish like like a pimp, but you can kind of see in the pictures him trying to look overtly cool. And you can kind of see in her in the pictures, she almost seems as though she's hanging on to him, like she's encompassing him in the pictures. You guys tell me what you think. I don't know. Some of my honeybees out there are very, very, very observant. So this is why I mention these little details, okay? Because I already know I'm not the only one. Okay, so let's talk about it down below. Anyway, so she talks to Jason about his father. And they at this time they're both there together. Now, the whole time that she is that he is sort of telling about the cheating senior year of high school, and then other things that have gone on in their relationship. He's very non-specific, and at first it kind of seems like he just don't want to talk about it. We don't learn until later that he's afraid to talk about it, to be really honest about it in front of Brandi. Every time he mentions this type of wounding, Iyanla puts a band aid or a bandage on Brandi. And we know that they film over a course, I think, of a few days. I think somebody told me 4 days, or they certainly film all day. And we know this is true because we see Iyanla put a couple of band-aids and a couple of bandages, and then when we come back from commercial, she got other bandages on her that we didn't see Iyanla put on. So, I mean, it's apparent that there is conversation going on that we are not privy to because of the length of the show and the time constraints. They sort of have to condense everything down. Brandi and Jason kind of did what most people do when they come into this setting, which is try to um, pee over our head and make us think it's raining. And when she first mentions the cheating to Iyanla, it's almost like, yeah, girl, I know, I can't believe he did it to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, wow. Yeah, like like, yeah, I've been through it, right? Um, and the moment we kind of see that she's not the only one wounded here, that he has come with his own wounds from his past, from, continually trying to, and I'm sure he's tried to stop. He seems like he earnestly wants to stop. He doesn't really have the tools that he needs. Things haven't been really clearly identified for him. A lot of people that graduated from college is not necessarily critical thinkers. You can just tell that he's not a person that easily expresses himself or easily articulates himself, which probably is where all of the extra sex comes from, right? So she separates them, and she takes him outside, and they're talking, and she was talking to him about being detached. He didn't really feel like he was detached, although he's never known his father. He was raised by his mother. The strong couple that he saw was his grandmother and his grandfather, and he saw his grandfather break down after his grandmother passed, and this recollecting this, or I get this right, when as he recollects what happened with his grandfather, he breaks down and he gets emotional about it. And you can just tell the love he had for his grandmother and his grandfather, and this idea of who they were. Um, Yana asked him during this time period, does he remember the first time he cheated? And he does. And here's the thing, when somebody is just being a playboy, that's why I took that back. Somebody's out there just hoeing and tricking. You don't remember half of the people. But if there is an inkling of conscious of awareness in you, you somehow you remember, you take each one on like a different and new weight in your life, on your spirit. You know what I'm saying? And he knew exactly. He knew exactly the first time he cheated outside of high school, was the day before they got married. He met a woman in the club the day before they got married, and they slept together. And she said, how do you feel when you're doing these things? And he says, I feel like I'm getting away. You know what I mean? It's like taking some time off, like getting away from my regular life. And she was like, well, what you trying to get away from? From what? And he was like, I don't know. I don't know. And I'm like, something isn't right here. So she goes to talk to Brandi, and Brandy's bandaged up. You know, they've had this long conversation. She's branded up, bandaged up, and she asked Brandy, "Why do you stay?" And she says, "Well, when I said I do, I believe in I do. I believe that this that it's forever." And so she says, "What about your father?" We come to find out, Brandy had a stepfather. Her birth father was sort of a one night stand, so to speak, like the man that she thought or her mother portrayed to be her father was not her father. And the mother said she didn't know. She didn't know which one was. Um, and she didn't find out, Brandy didn't find out until she was 28 that the man her mama was married to was not exactly her daddy. And Brandy didn't have a good relationship with the man because he was abusive to her mother. So she's got a disconnect from her father, and he's got a disconnect from his birth father. He never knew his birth father. He was just raised by his mother. So they have this thing in common. So she says, "I need to talk to the mom." So she brings in Patricia and Terry. Terry is Brandy's mom. Patricia is Jason's mom. And when they come in, they're older women in their 50s. So, uh, you know what I'm saying? Like, uh, they come in with the mask, with the persona. I could tell right away whose mother was whose mother. You know what I'm saying? Jason's mother looked like Jason, and she was, a lot more conservatively dressed. Brandy's mom was dressed a little bit more vivacious. She had lashes. She clearly had makeup on. She had her hair done in a really, trendy kind of style. So yeah, you could tell who was who. Now, we find out through talking to the moms that Brandy's mom is Team Brandy. And even though there's a lot going on with Jason and his family, his mom is clearly Team Jason. They don't argue, they don't fight over it, but somehow Iyanla knows, maybe it was the extra conversation we don't see, that they don't necessarily get 100% along. I think they are doing better now because of the son who is 5 years old. But we find out that Jason is drinking, and he is quite a drinker. None of which they have mentioned up to this point, Brandy or Jason, in the whole conversation. And then we hear from Jason's mom that Brandy has barred her. No, we heard that from Terry, from Brandy's mom. She says, "No, I don't dislike her. I always call her and have her come to my house so she can see the son because she's not welcome in their home." Now, Jason's mom wasn't going to tell any of that. She wasn't going to tell any of that. I don't think it was for any other reason than not to sully Jason, than not to say something unkind about Jason, because come to find out, he is not allowed to go see his mother, and his mother is not allowed to come to their home. He's not allowed to go see his grandfather. Okay. And Iyanla is like, "What?" I was like, "This is crazy. This is crazy. This is crazy." Okay, so she leaves these two, and it's like, "Oh, what's happening here?" And she goes back and she talks to them together, and she asks, point blank period, asks Brandy if Jason has a drinking problem. And Brandy's like, "To me, yes." "Jason, do you think you have a drinking problem?" He says no. Okay. So she asks her, "How many women do you think Jason has slept with?" And she was like, "Well, I know 8." And she was like, "Well, would you be surprised to hear that it was more?" And she was like, "Well, I mean, how much more?" And she was like, "Why does it matter? Why would you even pose the question? Why would you even pose the question if it don't matter? Why you even bring it up?" Because when she asked Jason, when they talked one on one outside on the patio, they bleeped out the number. We know it's 341. That's a lot of miles on a piece. To be 34, baby, that's a lot of penis miles. Okay? That's a lot of penis miles. I'm telling you. Seriously. Yeah. But Brandi don't know this. Now, he probably the one had it blocked out because we find out later after she hears that she wants to know immediately how many it is, and Iyanla says it's more than 50. She gather her things up and she storms up and goes upstairs. Brandi does. She's upset and she's crying. You know, this is a dramatic moment. He still sits downstairs and Iyanla goes in and she does do these kind of forced hugs, and maybe they seem forced because a lot of people aren't used to hugging. They give you like that little fake hug in the beginning, but I don't know. When she went to hug him, it really seemed forced. And it kind of seemed forced when she hugged Brandi too, but I just feel like if people don't open up for a hug or you ask for a hug or ask them if they want to hug, you probably shouldn't try to make people hug you. I know it's good for dramatic effect, but it's awkward as hell. It's awkward as hell to me. But anyway, she says she feels dumb. She feels dumb, and she was like, "Well, why does it have to be about you and not about the fact that he's a broken individual, that he's detached, that what he's doing is using this cheating to feel something in himself." Um, you know, Brandy's not really here for that. You can tell that she is not really here for that. She is here so that Iyanla can fix her husband and they can go back to looking like a perfect couple. But I've already said, even in their high school photos, in their younger photos, they don't look like the perfect couple. I can see it. I can see it. Okay. So I can see it here. So she finally comes back down and um she talks to Jason by himself, and I think this is like the next day, and she asks him, about his homework and if he's done his homework, and he was saying it was a tough night, just going over everything and dealing with things, and he talked about the fact that he would love to just be honest about how he feels and everything. Just talk to Brandi, but she won't listen. Like, she goes immediately into shaming him, immediately into blaming him, immediately into punishing him verbally. And we find out that one of his greatest disappointments is the fact that he is afraid to go and see his grandfather, because Brandi will do something like leave him. He doesn't want to leave her. He doesn't want her to leave him. He wants them to work it out too, but he can't just stop. That's apparent that he can't just stop. When she goes back in to talk to Brandi about controlling and manipulating and using things like his son, saying, "Hey, you can't take your son. If you take your son, I'm going to do this to see your grandfather." I thought she was saying he can't take the son because the step grandmother is a heavy drinker. Y'all tell me if I'm wrong. When we get back and it's all said and done, Iyanla repeats it like he can't take his son to see his grandfather in Arkansas because he's a heavy drinker. Jason is a heavy drinker. I'm not sure which one. Because what happened between the grandfather and the step grandmother and Brandi was Brandi fell out with the step grandmother. And Jason said he was banned from that point on. I don't want you and I don't want my son around her. I don't know. Like I said, when you come into a situation and you are not truly at that rock bottom place, I promise you, you will hide, you will scheme, you will disguise, you will be defensive, you will do everything but let go of that thing that you have become comfortable in. If she has become comfortable here, and you find a lot of women that do this, first of all, it is human nature to want to destroy the individual who hurt you. You want to lash out at them. You want to hurt them. You know what I mean? Forgiveness is not easy, not just for this couple, not just for her, but for a lot of people and a lot of women. Okay, the juxtaposition between men and women. Men, you cheat on a man unless he is an especially meek, mild mannered man. A man is generally done with the woman. Oof, when she cheats, okay? Like I said, unless he's a more meek, mild mannered individual. Okay, but a woman, oftentimes, even though she doesn't have any trust for that man, she will punish him. It's all about the punishment. That's why I'm staying. And it's all about winning. I want all of those people out there, those women whom I secretly blame, to know that I'm still number one, that I am the winner. At the end of the day, he's coming home to me. How many times have you heard people say that? Women say that, right? So this is what she's doing. I'm staying with you because I believe and I do. Okay, there's more urine. It's not rain. Because I said I do. And maybe, perhaps that is 1% of it. But a good 99 to 85% of reason why you, Brandi, has stayed with Jason is to punish Jason. Is to bring Jason into some sort of submission. He admits that she calls him weak in front of his child. He admits that he cannot get a word in edgewise. And when Iyanla confronts her about some of these behaviors, she becomes immediately defensive. There's not an ounce of manipulation in my body. There's an ounce of manipulation in every human that exists on this planet. Everybody. Babies manipulate mothers. Okay? The Bible says we are born into sin, okay? Everybody's got it in them, darling. Everybody. The nicest person you know manipulates on some level, somewhere. Just be clear about that. It comes with flesh. Okay? So she's defensive about that. And she says she would have to hear from his own mouth that he feels as though that she is being controlling and manipulative towards him. Now she feels like, how have I come out to be the bad guy and he's the one that has treated on me more than 50 times? You can see it all over her face. So when he comes in and joins the group, and they sit down together, or they go in to join him sitting down, and she sits down on the other side, and he says what his truth is. I feel like blah 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 blah, and she asks her to say what it is that she heard him say. You can just tell when people go on and on and on and on with something instead of just getting to it. It was just lost in translation. And Iyanla sort of checks her for it. And she's saying, well, maybe you didn't hear what he said because you were trying to think of your defense up here. And I think that that is the case. I feel like that whole time, even to the end when Iyanla separated them and sent them on their way, and it was the end of the show, you can tell by her body language that that is not what she came for. She never came there to be blamed. She came there so he could be blamed, that Iyanla can repeat some of the same things that she has told him in arguments. Okay, the mama Terry says she noticed that they wasn't sleeping, that they not sleeping in the same bedroom. Now, you can't leave the house. We here in the house together for our son, Guilt. Okay, all right, but we can't sleep in the same bed. She think it's gross that he done slept with more than 50. Listen, all of these are reasons why you need to move forward. Iyanla tells her that they should spend some time apart. Maybe 90 days apart and work on themselves. She's not going to give him 90 days because she feels like in them 90 days, he gonna add to his body count. All right. Here's the thing. If you don't have trust and all you have is the good feeling that you get when he seems like he's listening, when he seems like he's being controlled, when he seems like the manipulation is working, then what you have is a shell of a man. What she has is a shell of a man. I would be interested in knowing how long he has been drinking like this. Has he been drinking like this ever since she kind of found out about the 8? Is he drinking more now because of a lot of things that's going on in his marriage? I don't know if he's drinking in the midst of all this cheating, but I would be interested in knowing when the heavy drinking started. um you know so you could just tell that she wasn't happy. Like I said, I brought him here so you could tell him what I have been telling him about being wrong and not being good and not being good enough. Okay, being weak. I brought you here so you can co-sign on what I've already told him. She thought she was going to come in as the universal victim because he has cheated on her and she has had ovarian cancer. Okay, this is what she wants us to know. Just like the ladies last week, you come in with your own perspective, never once thinking. See, this is what love is. This is what covenant connection is. People say they want to be married, they want to stay married, but if you're not willing to put your own feelings aside and step in that other person's shoes just for a time, I'm not saying lose yourself in somebody, then how can you truly say that it's love? How can you? How can you? I mean, you want your man back, you want your family back. These are the sacrifices that you have to make. You're going to have to eat a little bit. And a lot of people operate in fairness. We're seeing this now with this whole Cardi B situation about things not being fair. Things not being fair. We're acting out because it's not fair, it's not right. Da. World ain't fair. The world ain't right. But if you say you love this man, if you say you love our family, then you have to shut up and let him say it. It hurts like a hot dagger, but let him say it, let him tell it, and don't punish him for it. If you feel you need to punish him for it, you need to leave him alone. It's okay to separate from somebody. A lot of people that separate, they go, they grow, they change, they get back together. But this holding on and dragging someone down and just to say I won, just to say you gotta, I made you do it, just to say no, no. You can't leave. You can't go. No, you have to come here and deal with this punishment that I'm gonna give you. Deal with how I'm gonna talk about you. That's not right. And it's not good for your son. It's better for you guys to be apart and your son to see you guys happy individually than to be together and you guys see discourse. Now, Terry noticed that her daughter Brandi and Jason weren't sleeping in the same bed. Jason's mom Patricia knew because their son told them. Their son told them. This was right after Terry, Brandi's mom, said she don't think the son know that there's anything going on. That was Iyanla Fix My Life with Brandi and Jason Maxiell. At the end, it said that they were still working on their relationship. I thought it was really, really important for us to just point out one, the whole truth is never out there for us, so we can only judge on this 1 hour show. Two, you know, we keep looking for the victim in these relationships where there's a lot of turmoil, and 9 times out of 10 we're seeing that there's always at least two victims. If they don't have children, two victims in the situation. If they have children, then you have multiple victims because residually people are being wounded. We see on his side his grandfather and his mother being kept apart from their son, is the type of wounding. Jason's got a lot of things he must do. He's got a journey of 1,000 miles ahead of him. And if she really wants it to work, she'll be quiet, she'll be patient, she'll swallow it, and she will work on her own self. The need to blame and to point fingers, it serves no purpose here. It doesn't. This is a sacrifice of love in marriage, you guys. Just point blank, period. This is a sacrifice of love in marriage. If you cannot make this sacrifice, then you must set a person free. That's just my opinion. You guys tell me what you think. Put it down below. Until next time, honeybees. Mwah, 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 mwah. Holla.